This week on the Computer Chronicles, cyber privacy. We'll show you how to surf the web anonymously with the Lucent personal web assistant. You'll see what can happen to all that information websites gather about your personal behavior. We'll introduce you to PGP, a simple way to encrypt your email so that only the intended recipient could read it. And we'll tell you about the anonymizer that lets you host a website or join a news group or chat room in anonymity. We'll visit a private detective to see how he uses the internet to track down people for his clients. And finally, the Firefly passport, a way to create a unique and personalized online identity while still preserving your privacy. Plus, my pick of the week, the ultimate sports simulation for golfers. It's all coming up next on the Computer Chronicles.
Computer Chronicles is made possible in part by SoftSource Incorporated, publishers of Pro1 software, educational software for young adults, and by Z Auction, the live online shopping experience. Additional funding from PC Connection and Mac Connection, the catalog and online superstore with PC and Mac products, toll-free technical support, and overnight delivery. And by Windows Magazine, delivering desktop, enterprise, and internet computing news, reviews, features, and how-tos for a Windows world. Because the world runs on Windows.
Hi, and welcome to the Computer Chronicles. I'm Stuart Chaffee. Well, there once was this famous New Yorker cartoon which showed a dog at a computer terminal, and the caption read, "On the internet, they don't know you're a dog." Well, times have changed. Nowadays on the net, they don't only know you're a dog, they know your breed, the kind of food you like, the location of your favorite tree, and where you've hidden that bone. What started out as an environment of anonymity has become an environment with dangerous opportunities for the invasion of your privacy. Today we're going to show you ways you can protect your privacy both online and on your hard drive. One of the most dangerous net environments is the web, where you can unknowingly leave a trail identifying just who you are. But there are ways to surf the web and preserve your privacy. One solution is the personalized web assistant from Lucent Technology. Elan, this is the thing you developed. And what is the basic idea behind the web assistant?
We really developed a tool that allows you to be smart when you go on the web. It assists you when you go window shopping, when you establish relationships with certain websites, and you use various email-based services.
Assist you how?
Let me show you. Here we have, for instance, one of those sites, which is my Yahoo. And this site
normally wants a lot of personal information from
exactly.
you.
So let's say I never used that site before, and I go there. And it's a little bit like my favorite coffee place. I go there in the morning, and after a while, the people know me, and they know what I want, and they give me what I want.
But they may not know your home address.
Exactly. That's exactly the point.
Okay.
So here, see, for instance, they ask me to choose a login name.
Right.
Now, if I use our assistant, all I have to do is to type in \.
So you don't have to actually put in your name and your all that stuff.
You have \p here for your password, \p, and then for email address, that's important, just to type in \@. It's a little bit like a post office
So put it in
box.
this coded sort of proxy information.
Right, and that's it, and that's much faster, and you don't have to remember anything. So let's go back now.
Yeah, now how does all this work? How does it know to accept that information?
Well, our proxy takes these cues that we give it, and then it produces something that looks like you would have put in. So the site is really not aware that there's this intermediary.
All right, so inside, ahead of time, I've gone to your web assistant and said, here's who I really am, and this is the code I'll use when people ask who I am.
So now, let's say I come back here. Again, I don't have to remember anything what I did when I registered. I just can give these cues. I can log in. And after a while, when you come back, we'll see. What we will see, really, is a site where it gives the information that I told earlier on, that site I'm interested in. So I don't have to wait to a lot of information I'm not interested in here.
So I once enter my real information into your proxy situation, and then that gets translated anywhere else I might go on the web.
So you see here, I get my own portfolio, my own news I'm interested in. It's like my coffee shop owner.
So it recognizes you, but it doesn't know who you are.
Exactly.
That's exactly. Now, what about an email application of this, Elan?
Right. It also helps you with junk email. In the sense, let me bring up a typical junk email that you and I get.
So you get a lot of spam junk.
Yeah. And everything looks just the way it used to, but now we see this red line here, and that's the one our assistant put in. And that's the address that our assistant computed for me at a certain site. And then let's say that site was a black sheep and sold it to spammers, and I'm getting the spam. So now all I have to do really is have cut and paste this address, put in my email filter, and I never hear from that guy again who he's here, this pretender.
So your web assistant automatically told me where that spam mail came from and allows me to put it in my filter and say, block that guy out in the future.
That's exactly right, and I never hear from that guy again. It's much more efficient than all the other spam tools.
Now what is WebAssist? Is this a product I buy from you guys? Is it a website? How do I use this?
It's a technology demonstration. It sits on a proxy server at Bell Labs. I just have to tell my browser to be smart and connect.
But I could get up there and use it right now.
Right now for free, and you can enjoy it and tell us how you feel about it.
Alan, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, well, one of the privacy problems on the web is that once you've given information to a vendor or to any website proprietor, you're never quite sure what's going to happen to that information. It can be sold, even stolen. Here's the scary story of what happened to the customer database at one website.
Laura Rule has one of the world's shortest commutes. She walks a few feet into her bedroom, opens a desk disguised as a dresser, and goes to work. Laura sells collector's items over the internet using a person-to-person auction service called eBay. Her one-woman business manages to generate about $2,000 a month, and she rarely worries about security.
I have had fantastic luck. I've had no problems. There was just recently a particular person buying jewelry that turned out that was paying with items with checks on a closed account. But I was informed beforehand by other eBay sellers. So I did not ship out the item, and she never sent me the check because she was found out.
eBay relies on the honesty of its vendors and buyers, expecting both parties to be self-reliant and responsible.
I really believe that most people are honest and trustworthy. When I talk to people from New York City, for example, and they kind of laugh at me when I say that, I ask them, well, gee, how many dishonest people do you know? Everything we've done at eBay has been to encourage people to communicate with one another, because I believe that once you get to know somebody, all the issues of trust and so forth will be dealt with the way we've dealt with it throughout history.
eBay encourages self-policing through a system of feedback on each vendor. Buyers and sellers provide compliments and criticisms, sometimes by the hundreds. But eBay was itself the victim of a security breach in late 1997, when a competitor invaded the company's mailing list and sent unsolicited email to their customers. eBay found itself in an awkward position.
What we're doing now is working on ways to, from both the legal point of view and the technological point of view, to help protect our members' privacy. It's been a difficult issue for us because eBay is based on helping people communicate with one another, and so any barriers you put in place to that by hiding identities makes it really, really difficult. So we've been approaching that very carefully.
For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Sarah O'Brien.
So let's say you've solved the problem of anonymity as you go surfing the web. What about your email? Can you assume all that email floating around in cyberspace is secure? No, you can't. So you may be interested in encrypting your email to protect your privacy. One solution to that problem is something called PGP, which stands for Pretty Good Privacy, which is your product, Elena. How does PGP work, basically?
What PGP does is it works off a concept of public-private key technology. I have a private key that only I have. It's what unlocks the encrypted email or file. And I give everyone a public key. So a lot of different people can access my public key and send me an encrypted email message. Once I get it, because I'm the only one with the private key, I can decrypt it.
All right, so you've given everybody a public key. They know how to get into your email, but you can put your particular encryption code in there. All right, show us how you do that then. If you want to send out a piece of email and keep it private, what do you do?
Okay, so let's say I want to send an email message to my tax accountant. I obviously don't want anyone to read my financial information. So I type up the email message.
So that's the email as we started.
Right. And now all I do is a simple click of the mouse. I click once if I want to encrypt the message, and what this does is it transfers it, it garbles it, so that only the people I send it to can read it.
Okay.
And then it's one simple mouse click to digitally sign it. That's what proves it came
Now, digitally sign it means what?
Two things. One of which is it proves that it came from me and not from someone else. And second,
How does it do that?
it's through a hash function. It's a mathematical function that's computed, and that proves that it came from me. It's actually done off my private key.
Okay, it's another form of encryption, really, with regard to the signature.
Right.
All right, so let's encrypt this message so nobody else can read it.
Okay, I'll send it off. Okay, now I need to type in my passphrase, and that's what protects my private key.
Okay. So you only know this one.
Right. And off the message goes.
And now there's a bunch of garbage.
Right.
So if I received that or tried to steal your email, I would see garbage.
Exactly.
But if I had the public key, what?
Here's what you do. You'd open up your email message, and now all you do is type in your private key to decrypt the message that was sent to you by encrypting with your public key.
Okay.
So once again, I just do one simple mouse click,
And
type in my
passphrase
passphrase, and the message is both decrypted, so now you, my tax accountant, could read it.
Right.
And this green button over here shows that it's valid. It actually came from me, Helena Winkler, and it shows the date.
All right, so at both ends, we each need PGP software to encrypt it at your end, to decrypt it at my end when I want to read this thing.
Right.
All right, that's the email application. There's a similar security issue with stuff that may be sitting on my hard drive, right?
Exactly. Whether it's on your hard drive, whether it's on a floppy, or any other removable storage device. What you can do with PGP is take either a folder or any of the files within it.
And do the same kind of encryption.
And do the exact same thing. So, for example, I can just simply select a file. Maybe it's a business document that I'm working on. And I can choose PGP right over here through the drop-down list to encrypt it, sign it, or encrypt and sign it. The other thing I can do is something called secure wipe.
Which is what?
This is different than when you throw something in a trash can. We all know there's utilities that you can then remove it from your trash can.
This really gets rid of
writes
something.
over it. So it's not possible for anyone to ever read that document once you've done that.
All right, so it's not just encryption for email, but you can encrypt, encode, and keep safe any kind of information that's on your computer.
Right, or accessible from your computer, again, a removable storage device.
All right, briefly, there's one fringe benefit, and that is you're actually compressing the stuff at the same time, aren't you?
Exactly. So if you have a large file, especially if it's audio or a picture or a PowerPoint presentation, this compresses it first, making it much smaller, and then encrypts it and sends it off.
All right, so both of us go out and buy PGP, which we can do from a store or a website?
Right. CompUSA or a website, www.pgp.com.
Okay, thank you. All right, well, the problem of privacy on the net is not limited to emailers, online shopping customers, or technology consumers. You may want to run a website, join a news group, go to a chat room, and still remain anonymous for a variety of legitimate reasons. To do that, you need another kind of privacy tool, and that is the anonymizer. And tell us how that works, Lance.
Well, the anonymizer is really a whole suite of privacy services. It allows you to surf the web anonymously, it allows you to send anonymous email, and we also allow people to participate in chat groups and even to host websites anonymously.
All right, now let's go that, because that's interesting, hosting website. I put up a website, but I don't want people to know I've done it, or I post stuff to a news group and I don't want people to know I've done it. Why?
Well, often it's because you're discussing things that you don't want, say, your employer or your family to know about. People in news groups are often using this for support. Maybe they were abused, they have an alcohol problem. Websites that people are hosting, typically they're worried about repercussions. We host, for instance, a site which contains information about organized crime that people have set up a database. They're really worried about repercussions from this.
Now, you have a good example. You actually did a Deja News search, and people don't know it, but they could find out an awful lot about what you said in news groups, what people said about you, right?
Right. These archives, they're very useful for research, but they also scoop up a whole lot of information you might not expect.
What is this here?
Here, actually, I searched the web, and because a lot of mailing lists are archived onto websites, and so I just put in my own name into Alta Vista, and it came back with almost 700 responses.
So I could find out an awful lot about you, and you might not even be aware of the fact that I can do all this.
Right, and often when one's posting to the web or posting to a news group, you're doing so in a casual manner. You'd often say things which you'd say to a friend, but you really wouldn't want your next
realize
boss.
it's being recorded and is retrievable by a stranger at some later point.
Right, really for all eternity. This is
Got it. All right, so how do I use Anonymizer to solve that problem?
Well, with Anonymizer, you can surf the web by going to the Anonymizer. And
So this is just a website. I go to your website.
Right, and if you want to surf the web anonymously, we have a free account, or you can put in your username.
And this will mask my identity as I'm running around.
That's right. It'll completely hide your email address. It'll hide stop cookies. It hides your IP.
It will stop cookies.
It absolutely stops cookies.
And when I jump from link to link, it will still preserve my anonymity?
That's right. It rewrites the pages on the fly. It puts this little control bar at the top of the screen, which shows, which gives you access to the functions of the anonymizer. And it also turns off Java and JavaScript, which can be used to extract information.
Explain that. How does Java use to extract information?
Well, Java is a general-purpose programming language. It has access and can interface with your browser, and your browser may contain your email address.
Right. People don't realize that it can actually go inside and pull stuff out of your
That's
hard
right,
drive.
and have it sent back to the server.
All right, so say I'm on the EFF website here now, and I'm in anonymous mode.
Yeah.
And I keep on moving around, and that anonymity will follow me as I go?
That's right. Each one of the links is rewritten so that it points back through the anonymizer. If you want to be anonymous all the time, you can set it up as your proxy. But often you may want to switch between being anonymous.
So I can go in and out of anonymity?
Very easily.
Now, you guys at the anonymizer, do you have all my information?
No, we don't see any reason why we should have your information any more than anyone else should. So in fact, for many of our customers, we don't know who they are. We've never known who they are.
So I really am anonymous throughout, and I've got to trust you guys.
That's right, because there's always a possibility with any of these services
Someone's going to pay you money to get my stuff.
Someone could pay me off, or a hacker can break in.
Right.
There's a lot of examples of ISPs which have had their databases raided. We don't have those databases.
Okay, the anonymizer, and it's up on your website.
That's right.
Thank you, Lance.
Thank you.
All right, well, if you're a private investigator, the internet is such fun. Look at all the new ways you can now snoop on a potential womanizer, a child support deadbeat, a tax cheat. We wanted to find out just how real the threat of cyber privacy invasions are, so we visited a private investigator to see if and how he uses the internet to do his work.
Somewhere inside this nondescript building in Oakland, California, is the office of Patrick McKee, private investigator. McKee specializes in covert video surveillance. His tiny CCD cameras will fit easily inside radios, clocks, VCRs, and stuffed toys. But this detective and his associates start many of their investigations not by snooping around dark alleys, but with information obtained online, including discussion groups.
And it's really amazing and powerful to be working on a case and maybe you get stumped and you just don't know what to do next. You've tried everything you know and throw that out and get 20 or 50 responses from other people, all with, you know, maybe similar or very different ideas on what to do.
McKee still keeps his little black book of contact names, but he prefers to get his data through information brokers. And sometimes brokers are not very picky about their buyers.
There are information brokers out there that will give you almost any information that you want and take your credit card right then and not require that any background check or you know, verify that you have a legitimate need for this information.
McKee points out that much of the free online information is out of date and unlikely to be useful. In any case, brokered information is only the beginning of an investigation.
Let's say that I find out that through information means that that this is the person's residence. Well, maybe I don't know where what they do for a living and all that stuff. Well, I'm not. I mean, I might go up and knock on their door and do a pretext that way. But I may also go to their neighbors, or if I follow that same individual to a bar, try to talk to the bartender, or maybe one of his co-workers, or something like that.
Email and databases may look dull compared to the cloak and dagger image of private eyes, but even today, there are times when a detective is still a detective.
The other night, I had a surveillance in San Francisco in the pouring down rain, and here I am, and I thought it was pretty darn funny when I had a moment to take a breath and step outside of what I was working on.
For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Sarah O'Brien.
There is a fundamental dilemma on the internet. In some ways, you want content providers to know who you are. You may want them to push down information that's relevant just to you. You may not want them to waste your time and your hard drive space sending you stuff you're not interested in. Well, the good news is you can have a personalized identity on the net and still preserve your privacy. And I guess, Saul, that's the idea behind the Firefly Passport?
Absolutely. The Firefly Passport is designed so as an individual I can have a personalized experience wherever I go on the internet, but still be in control of who sees my information and what they do with it.
So control is the issue, I guess, because without something like Passport, somebody just shoves a cookie on my hard drive, I don't know what they're doing, and they're now grabbing information about me and I don't know what they're doing.
Absolutely. The Passport is a completely open system which allows me to see what's going on. Currently, websites dump, as you say, cookies onto my hard drive. I don't know what the cookie means. I don't know what people are doing with it. The Passport opens this up and puts me in control.
All right, so show me how it puts me in control. What can I do now when I use Passport to manage this information?
The Passport allows you to keep all of your personal information on your hard drive and allows you to control.
Control it how?
Control it in the way that you can say, I want to be asked every time someone wants to know my zip code. I want to know when someone asks for what industry I work in. I want to know when someone wants my home address.
All right, so along all these little bits of personal information, I can say just always give it if they want it, never give it, or give me the choice each time.
Absolutely. You can set permissions against every attribute of your profile information, which says, this is okay with me, this is not okay with me ever, and this is something I want to be asked for.
All right, so I filled out my Passport profile. Now what happens when I go to a site that now wants all that information?
Sure. I mean, let's go to a website, for example, a site that wants to offer me music information. I'm going to a site, in this case, called Launch.
All right, which typically wants to know what kind of music I like, what kind of groups I like, because it wants to sell me concert tickets or CDs.
Exactly, and what it's doing here is it's asking me for certain types of information, and very importantly, it's telling me what it's going to do with that information.
But it's playing by your rules.
It's playing by the rules that were set up by a standard that Firefly co-authored with Netscape and Microsoft, which put into place on a global basis the ways by which businesses request information.
So vendors can agree, we'll abide by these standards to let people know what we're asking for and give them the option to give it or not.
So when I want to go onto this site, I see that they're telling me what they're going to do with my information, and I can agree to that. I can go through to the concerts area, and then I get personalized information. Now, what's very important here is the ability for me to actually review what has gone on. I visit all these different websites on given days, and what the Passport allows me to do is actually to view the transactions that have occurred.
These are the websites I went to and what information they pulled down from me.
Very much like, you know, a credit card statement or a phone bill. So, for example, I may have gone to the IBM website. They say, I want your occupation so I can give you product information. This is what it allows you to do.
Okay, so I'm not keeping the information back from these guys, but at least I know what's happening, you're saying.
I know what's happening. I know what they're going to do with it. And because they're operating within a standard, there's something I can do about it if they do something wrong with
But this does depend on voluntary agreement, right? This website, my Launch, had to agree to use your Firefly standard. Some guys may not want to do that because they may want to just suck out all that information.
Absolutely, and we're very aware that, you know, there are certain types of businesses that value the trust that they build up with individuals and other businesses who may not want to do that.
So you hope long-term more guys are going to go your way.
Well, what's encouraging for us was OPS was adopted by hundreds of companies, has been in front of the FTC, and this is really on the cutting edge of protecting people's information
And I can
online.
get Passport just by downloading it from your website.
You can go to our website, and from next year, the Passport will be available through both browsers and through hardware as well.
All right, thank you very much, Saul.
Thank you.
All right, that's our look at privacy in cyberspace. I'll be back in just a moment with my pick of the week. Now for my pick of the week. If you're a golfer or a would-be golfer, you've no doubt tried one or several of the many golf software programs that are out there. Some of them are pretty good, And over the years, the scenery has gotten better, the redraws have gotten faster, they've added sound and digitized the golfers, but most of these golf programs are weak in the user interface. They all use this awkward triple-click system for swinging and hitting the ball. It doesn't come anywhere near the real physical experience of swinging a golf club. But now Front Page Sports has come out with a new golf game that revolutionizes computer golf. In this game, you really do need good eye-hand coordination to play well because you use the mouse just like the head of a golf club with a new game innovation called True Swing. In Front Page Sports Golf, you physically have to pull the mouse back and push it forward, and the flight of the golf ball depends on how you swing the mouse. That is how straight you move it, how fast you move it. This really makes computer golf a much better game and vastly improves the realism of the putting game. With True Swing, you can even intentionally add a hook or a slice or change the angle of the ball's flight to avoid hitting an obstacle. Front Page Sports Golf also gives you full control of where you stand, how you stand, which way you face, and for the first time ever, the golfer is a full 3D object who follows the laws of physics. The game also comes with an excellent on-screen tutorial so you can practice your new mouse skills before taking on an opponent. The game comes standard with the beautiful Prince Golf Course on the island of Kauai in Hawaii. Plus, you can add other courses. It is by far the most realistic golf simulation I have ever played. It is at last a physical computer golf game. It's distributed by Sierra Online. This one will be hard to put down. That's it for this edition of Computer Chronicles. We'll be back here again next week with more of the latest in hardware, software, and internet technology. If you'd like more information about anything you saw on today's show, please check out our website at cmptv.com. That's it for this week's Chronicles. I hope we'll see you here next time.
Computer Chronicles is made possible in part by SoftSource Incorporated, publishers of Pro1 software, educational software for young adults, and by Z Auction, the live online shopping experience. Additional funding from PC Connection and Mac Connection, the catalog and online superstore with PC and Mac products, toll-free technical support, and overnight delivery. And by Windows Magazine, delivering desktop, enterprise, and internet computing news, reviews, features, and how-tos for a Windows world. Because the world runs on Windows. To purchase a videotape copy of today's program, call toll-free 1-888-310-7850. Please specify the show number and the topic.
Next week on the Computer Chronicles, putting your business online. We'll show you an online consulting service that will help you get going and some web design software that anybody can figure out how to use. Plus a look at one small business that went from 0 to 40% of its sales online. We'll show you the website garage where you can service your business website, and we'll take you to the world's largest video store, a website called Real.com. Also a look at web speed software to help you manage your online business, plus my pick of the week, an incredible new cellular modem. It's all coming up next week on the Computer Chronicles.